Hey, somebody's got to call the school and tell them I'm going to be tardy. You did? Excellent. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. You are listening to the Professional Noticer.
Nip it in the bud.
Here, you and I will use common sense and all the wisdom we can muster to move beyond what is true and go all the way to the truth. With listeners now in 85 countries around the world, thank you for joining us, Chile. It's winter down there. It's chilly in Chile. I am the Professional Noticer.
Stay with us, folks. Things could break any minute now, but right now, back to our regular program.
Hello, everyone. I'm Andy Andrews. Hey, thank you for making me a part of your week, and I would especially like to thank those of you who have been listening since we started 52 weeks ago. Ha! Can you believe this? 52 weeks. Hadn't missed a week after week, and I was just a very young, wet behind the ears professional noticers. I was a rookie in the professional ranks of noticing 52 weeks ago, but now I'm a seasoned veteran and very excited to be here. Hey, we want to thank all those sponsors who have been with us, and thank you for working with the sponsors and keeping up with them, joining their Facebooks and patronizing their businesses. Just so much appreciated. We want to thank Tucker ATV, GrowingDeer.com, Kamado Joe, itam.org, Austin Legacy Knives, and WisdomHarbor.com. That's Harbor with an O-U-R. And this week, hey, we're doing something a little different. I'm very excited about this, but in celebration of this podcast year coming to a close, and with most of the kids headed back to school this month, we're going to be playing some of the best of questions from this past year, dealing with those who are in school, leaving school, or have kids in school. So get your notebooks out. Those big chief writing tablets, get those notebooks out, or the composition books, spiral bound. I always got blue. What color did you get? But get them out. Get those number 2 pencils sharpened. And no, you cannot get up and sharpen your pencil 5 times during one class. That's what I always did, just so I could get up. I go through one number 2 pencil in a day. And also have those highlighters. Have those highlighters ready. There ain't nothing like highlighting a podcast. So just do it, and let's get going. This week, our first question is from Brian. He's from Pennsylvania. Let's listen.
Hi, Andy. This is Brian from Pennsylvania. It's been a while since you spoke for us at the Southeastern Family Office Forum in Atlanta. I wanted to reach out as my son, Hunter, who loves all your books, by the way, said he'd like to set some goals for this year, and I was wondering if you had any guides or thoughts on what might be appropriate for he and I to talk through. I look forward to your thoughts. Best wishes to you and your family. Thanks. Bye-bye, Andy.
Hey, Brian. I remember doing that. It's such a great time. It's just a bunch of families that have gotten together to try to figure out the greatest routes available to raise children and to raise families and do it in a generational way. So I specifically remember being with you guys, and I appreciate that time. I would love to come back. So come on, man. Put me on the list. Hey, I am excited that Hunter is 13. This is a perfect time for him to set some goals, to set life goals for next year and goals for the rest of his life. I do have thoughts for you, and I think you're going to get a kick out of this because I think you're going to enjoy doing this with Hunter. I do this with my boys, and at about the same age. I think one of them was 12 when I did it. One of them was 13 when I did it. But you want to get Hunter, you want to get him away from the house, away from just the normal stuff, and either sitting with something to look at, like sitting on the edge of a lake or something like that, or walking. A lot of times, guys do really good doing something while they talk. Girls will look into each other's eyes for hours, but a guy wants to be doing something with his hands. And so a lot of times, when you're walking with your son or an employee, when you're walking, subconsciously, you're moving in the same direction. And, subconsciously, there's an agreement there. And so get Hunter out of the house. And here is what I suggest. What I suggest is that you don't take Hunter and say, okay, we're about to talk about goals. Kind of just ease into it. And here's how I suggest you ease into it. Say, Hunter, do you ever think about being an adult? You ever think about being grown? You ever think about being away, living somewhere else? And it's okay for you to think that way if you do. But do you ever think about that? And he'll probably say, yeah, sometimes. And you say, well, that's good. That's good. You're planning for the future. And so, you probably, at this point, Hunter, you're 13, you probably can't imagine being 50 or 40, but you could probably imagine being 25, couldn't you? And he'll say, yes, sir. And so 25, that's kind of a good mark, something for you to think about right now and where you want to be then. You can set smaller goals if you have a great idea where you're going. It's easy to set monthly or yearly goals if you have a great idea of where you want to end up. And so at 25, Hunter, where do you see yourself? If you could wave a magic wand, and understand, you can change your mind at any time, okay? But let's just get something down now, something that we can work with. And Brian, you may even want to write it down. But here are some of the questions you want to ask. Say, Hunter, if you could have a magic wand and you could wave it over your life at age 25, you could just jump to 25, where are you going to live? And he'll probably look at you and go like, well, what do you mean? I said, well, where are you going to live? You're going to live in the city? You're going to live in the country? You're going to live in the suburbs? Are you going to live in the mountains? You're going to live on the water? Now you want to narrow this down as you go. I remember when I was talking to Austin about this, and Austin said, oh, okay, well, the water. And I said, salt water or fresh water? And he said, salt water. I said, okay, on the bay, on the beach, on the lagoon, on the canal, on the backwater, where salt water? And he said, on the lagoon. I said, really? You like the lagoon? He said, yes, sir, I like the lagoon. I said, okay, north side or south side? And he said, well, north side. I said, really? The north side? Okay, why? Why the north side? I'm just curious. And he said, well, on the north side, they have the sand, just like they do on the south side. But on the north side, they have the woods, too. It's not just sand and water. It's the sand and the water, and they have the woods you can roam through. I said, okay, that's good. That's good. I said, so, what are you going to live in? And so when you find out, that's what you want to ask. What are you going to live in? How are you going to live? What are you going to be sleeping in? And he might say, like, what do you mean? Well, you're going to live in a house, an apartment, a condo, a tent, a duplex. I mean, what are you going to live in? I mean, and he'll say, well, I don't know. So, okay, well, if you did know, what would you say? Because right now you have a magic wand. And you can wave it over your life. And so right now, what would be the very best? And so here's a couple of things you might hear. At one point, you might hear, well, knowing what I'm going to probably do. No. I didn't say knowing what you probably do. Well, knowing what I'm probably going to make. No, I didn't say that. I said you had a magic wand. If you could choose the best, what would it be? And so, Brian, you want to go through just a whole list of stuff. You know what kind of car you're going to drive. I mean, the place that you're living in, are you going to rent it? Are you going to buy it? Okay, what are your house payments going to be? Or are you going to pay it off? I mean, what are you going to do there? Are you going to have a car? What kind of car? How old is the car? You know, what are you going to do for a living? Where are you going to work? You going to do a job? You going to own your own business? What are you going to do? You're on the water. You're going to have a boat. I mean, you just, I mean, man, just, and there will be a couple of times that he might say something that that's a 13-year-old answer, and we don't need to let that stay there. And so you don't want to say, well, that's dumb. You don't want to say that. What you want to say is something like, really? Okay, now that's curious. Now look, you got different choices here, okay? Because if you do that, you got this and this and this that are going to happen. And if you do this, you got this and this is going to happen. And, you can talk to him that way and he'll go, oh, yeah, I didn't think of that. Okay, well, I'll probably do so-and-so. My point is, Brian, you want to guide him and you want to get a list. Get it written down on paper that when you get through, you can look at this list and you can look at Hunter and you can say, you know what? This is great. I mean, this is awesome. I love this. And listen, I will help you. I think this is a great target. And I think that we can set some, short-term goals that will move you because you're either going to be moving toward this target or moving away from it. And let me ask you something, Hunter. Boy, this is a pretty amazing way for a 25-year-old to live. Do you know any 25-year-olds who live this way? And he probably doesn't. And he'll probably say, no, sir, I don't. And you say, you know what? I don't either, but there are some. There are some that live this way. Let me ask you this, Hunter. Now, you're asking this as his dad. You're saying, Hunter, you're 13, so you got 12 years to get to 25. Now, if I could go back in time and I could be 13 again, and I knew everything I know now, even though I was 13, I knew everything I knew now, do you think that in 12 years I could make this happen? And he'll say, yes, sir. And you'll say, you are absolutely right. I could make it happen. Unfortunately, I can't be 13 again, but you're 13 and I'm your dad. And I think this is awesome. And if you want to, I will coach you to this. What that's going to allow you to do, Brian, you won't have to have any arguments about the way he dresses or the way he talks or, all you'll have to do if you keep this in the forefront of everything you guys do, all you'll have to do is, I'm not sure. I remember telling Austin one time, hey, buddy, because see, he had his own business. He started a business at 13 and I remember telling him one time, hey, buddy, you can dress however you want to. But you have a business that you have clients who hire you to do this. And those clients generally have more money. It was a citrus management business. And I said, those clients generally have more money. And so just think about the people that they hang out with and also think about, that 25-year-old who lives on the lagoon in a house that's paid off. How do they dress? How did they dress to get there? How do they act? So you probably won't have to have any kind of, arguments with him or anything. You'll just say, hey, I'm coaching. And as you establish the coach thing, say, I want to coach you. And it's going to require you doing some things that, you don't necessarily want to do. Take your favorite college team and that favorite college coach and say, hey, and mention the quarterback when coach so-and-so, when he tells, the quarterback, when he says, hey, I know you have a date and I know that you are tired, but you told me you wanted a national championship. And that's what I'm coaching you to. And so because of that, you're going to be late for your date and you're going to run wind sprints after practice because what you want is a national championship. And, just say, hey, I'll coach you to it. Don't make me put you on the bench now and just kind of laugh about it. But this will be great, Brian. And I really would love to hear how this goes with Hunter, but I know that it's going to go great. This will give you many more opportunities for conversations, which is what you really want to have with Hunter from 13 to 21 or so and on. Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate the question and the opportunity to talk about this. I love talking about parents and their children. Okay, we're going to move on to our question from Jacob. He's from Wisconsin. Let's listen.
Hey, good morning, Andy. This is Jacob from Wisconsin, and I graduated from college this past May. I feel that I'm properly educated for the next phase of my life, but I've never been professionally advised. I majored in business administration, but there's so much out there that I have no idea where to start, to even look for, or what I'd be qualified for. College preps us with knowledge and discipline, but I really have no idea, what to look for in a job or even what to look for with companies. Do you have any advice for me on where to start to look and how? Thanks. Bye.
Jacob, hey, that was a great question. That is a great question. I'm excited about answering this for you. I'm kind of jabbering here while I gather my thoughts, but I'm excited about answering this for you because I think this is a question that a lot of people need to hear some perspective on. I think a lot of people are struggling with this question, but they don't know how to phrase it. They're struggling with this situation, but they don't know how to phrase it in a question. And if you can't ask the question, you're never going to get an answer that'll help. You graduated from college this past May. Hey, congratulations. That is awesome. I'm going through your letter here. I feel like I am properly educated for the next phase of my life. Wow, I hope you are. I never have felt like that I have been. And you say, but you have not been professionally advised. You're right. You have not been. And by the way, you're not being professionally advised right now. I don't even know what you graduated in business administration, but I don't know what you really intend to do. Okay. And so what I'm wanting to apply here is just some common sense wisdom. I'm wanting to get to the bottom of the pool on where you should start and what I am seeing. I work with a lot of companies, work with a lot of CEOs, a lot of HR people. And, you say you're not sure what you'd be qualified for or even what to apply for. Okay, let me tell you what you're qualified for. Anything you want to do, that's what you're qualified for. You are qualified for anything you want to do. Now, I got to tell you, I know people who don't have degrees in business administration, and they're almost as qualified as you, but you have the piece of paper. You have the tag on you. Somebody stamped it on your chest. This guy has a degree. He has, completed a degree in business administration. Dude, you got a business thing there. And so you can use this anywhere with anything you want to do. I mean, frankly, I don't know if you knock out preachers, attorneys, teachers, and doctors, I don't know very many people that are working in the same area as their degree indicated that they were going to work in when they got out of college. But you have a degree that gives you probably more flexibility than any other degree anybody could get. And so the deal is that you get to make the choice. You say you don't know what to look for. Okay, and you say you don't know what you'd be qualified for. Okay, the answer is that anything. All right, then you don't know what to apply for. Here's what you apply for. What would you do even if they didn't pay you? I mean, what is it that you're interested in? You say you graduated from college this past May, so I'm assuming you're in your early 20s, okay? You could be 80. I don't know. I read about a lady a couple of weeks ago and graduated from college when she was 80. And so, who knows how old you are, but you don't say, but I'm assuming that you're young. And I would really urge you to figure out what you like and just know this ain't going to be the rest of your life. There have been so many times in my life, Jacob, I'm 59 years old, and there have been 4 major periods in my life when I thought, wow, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is it. This is the rest of my life. This is what I'm supposed to do for the rest of my life. And it was what I was supposed to do then. And it created a platform, a knowledge base, and I guess an experience base for the next phase that was bigger and better. And it used what I had done before. And so don't be locked in on, man, I got to be really careful because do I want to be doing this when you're 60? Well, you're probably not going to be anyway. Okay. So you didn't say whether you were about to get married or anything. So I don't know. And so if you are, tell your fiance not to be offended by me saying this because I don't even know you have one. But just remember, if you don't have a fiance right now, if you're not dating anybody seriously, just remember that the choices get a lot better the farther along you are. There's not going to be any shortage of people. There's not going to be, all of a sudden people are not wanting to get in relationships anymore. And the more stable you are, building your business before you build your house, so to speak, that, there's a lot of wisdom in that. So just consider that. And so when you're looking at where to start or how, remember that you want to look at what is it you want to do? What interests you? What do you feel like you want to learn? But more than anything, what value can you bring? Because that's going to be the bottom line to those people. The bottom line to those people, I hate to tell you this, but it's not going to be your degree. The bottom line for those people, unless you're talking about some company that has, 500 million employees and they're just looking at paper and hiring 6,000 at a time, you're going to have to interview with somebody. Okay, you're gonna have to go talk to somebody, and you're gonna have to write something. And so just remember, we talk about this a lot, but remember what the product is. It's you. The product is you. Now, I mentioned before, I can close this out really quickly, buddy. I mentioned before that I work with a lot of CEOs and a lot of HR people, and there is a feeling about your generation. I call them millennials, and there's a feeling about your generation that you have been coddled and that you don't really want to work, and that you're more concerned about your coffee breaks and you're more concerned about your weekends, and that you don't even really want to build a career. You're just like, I want to get along so that I can go ride my bike every afternoon. And so there is also a huge disconnect with your generation and the generation of people in place right now that does all the hiring and firing. A lot of these HR people, a lot of these CEOs that I've talked to, the media says about the unemployment rate of your generation. But what I hear people say a lot of times, now they won't say it to the television cameras or the news media, but they'll say it behind the scenes. They'll say, they aren't unemployed, they're unemployable because of their work ethic, because of the way they act. Now, listen, because of their manners. Now, listen, Jacob, I'm not telling you this to punch your generation in the chest. And I'm not telling you this so that you can feel weird. I'm telling you this to understand how you really compete in the marketplace. What I do as a professional noticer is to help people compete in a way the competition doesn't even know a game is going on. Okay, so let me tell you how to compete, dude. How you're going to get the job is how you are. It's who you are. It is how you act. It is the look on your face. It is the smile you have or don't have. It's the questions you ask and the questions that it's not going to be so much the questions you answer. It's going to be the questions you ask them that will reveal to them, are you wanting to work? Are you just wanting us to finance your 25-year-old lifestyle? I mean, what is it you want? I mean, because you just got to understand, everybody else is going in there competing in a way that they've taught them to in business school. And the way they've taught them to compete in business school for the most part has been taught by people who have only taught it. And if they have interviewed for something, they haven't done it in 20 or 30 years. Now, that's not always the case, but here's the last thing I want to tell you. You're just starting. And so they're not likely to ask you about experience because they'll know you just got out of college. But if you can, now this would take a mixture of cheekiness and humility. Okay, honestly, no kidding. I'd practice this in front of a friend. I'd practice this in front of the mirror. But this is going to take a little bit of cheekiness, meaning it's going to take some guts, and it's going to take some humility, because if you say this, you can't seem like an arrogant little jerk. Okay? People in the hiring and firing age of our society are likely to be your parents' age. Okay? And so, or older. And so, if you can somehow get in the question in there somewhere, just say, are you curious at all about any past experience that I have that's taught me anything that might make me a fit or not a fit here? And they'll go, well, have you had any? And you can smile and go, I have had a good bit of experience. And you say it with a laugh. I have had a good bit of experience. A lot of it was imposed on me by my parents, and some of it imposed on me by some of the great bosses I've had at other places I've worked. But even though I don't have specific experience in this industry, I do have a great deal of experience in getting along with people. I have a lot of experience in being on time. I have a lot of experience in having a great attitude. I have experience in finding the answer by myself without bugging everybody else on the team. I have a lot of experience completing my tasks on time. And I got to say, I'm more interested in a future with your company than I am in how much vacation time this job offers. I'm excited about this. And dude, I'm going to tell you 9 times out of 10, you're hired. You guys, this has been a lot of fun. I Appreciate that question so much, Jacob. You helped me today because you helped me think through some things I need to talk to my sons about. Our next question is from John. Let's listen.
Hey, Andy, this is John from Colorado. I enjoyed your podcast on the father guiding the son and setting life goals. Because I have a 10-year-old son, if you don't mind, I have a couple of follow-up questions. My son loves baseball, and he made the top-level team for his age group and league last year. When I talked to him about where he wants to be at age 25, if his answer is that he wants to be a professional baseball player, how would you respond to that answer? I also have an 8-year-old daughter, and do you recommend the same process for girls? On an unrelated note, my wife and I own a franchise. In 2017 and again last year, I suggested to our chief operating officer that she book you to speak at our annual conference, and still you're not on the agenda. Any tips as to how I might persuade her to book you? Thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to hearing your answer.
Okay, excellent question. Thank you, John. First of all, I want to make something a little more clear than I obviously did. Now, John, you say that you have a 10-year-old son. Now, I'm thinking a 10-year-old is a little young for the serious conversation that I really suggest about that age 25 thing. Okay, I'm not saying you don't get him started toward that. But for most kids, it is like 12 or 13 that particular conversation really needs to take place. With a 10-year-old, if he wants to be a professional baseball player, I say great. I mean, that's great. I remember, but it's because at 10 years old, even though your son made the team for top level for his age group and his league. At 10 years old, a lot of kids think they're going to be professional baseball players. A lot of kids think they're going to play professional basketball. And I remember talking to a friend of mine, Ray Knight, Ray was the most valuable player in the 1986 World Series, cover of Sports Illustrated. And if you don't remember which World Series the 86 World Series was, it was the World Series where Mookie Wilson hit the ground ball that went through Bill Buckner's legs. That was the 86 World Series between the Mets and the Red Sox. And Ray Knight ended up being the most valuable player for the Mets in that particular World Series. I remember talking to him, and Ray is from Albany, Georgia, which they pronounce it Albany, and Ray talked about how he was the best growing up, all through those leagues and all. But then when he got past high school and got into that college ball and got into a single A rookie ball, and that it was a totally different deal. And so the statistics are against any 10-year-old. Now, am I saying that your 10-year-old is not the 10-year-old? No, I'm not saying that. But I believe that your particular question may work itself out on its own in some way that you don't really expect it to work out. I remember one time, and in fact, Adam, my son Adam was about 10, and he had played football for a year and loved it. He loved it. And, we always looked at Adam and we thought, Austin had this little golfer's body, he's like skinny, but Adam had this thicker, kind of body. And Austin was always very cautious. Adam, he wasn't cautious at all. And Adam also did not have he had some kind of weird pain tolerance. I mean, I remember one time Adam, there's a little kid, like 3 years old, toddling behind me on the stairs, and I'm kind of watching him very carefully. He's right behind me. But then I get down to about the fifth or fourth stair or something, and this is a wooden stairs over a wooden floor. And I just kind of went on down, and then I turned around, and he had stopped. And I said, come on, buddy, come on down. And he dove out and landed, face first, right on the hard, in this hard floor. And of course, I'm horrified. And Adam just kind of looked up at me and grinned, and he said, that hurt. And so we always looked at Adam and said, man, is that what NFL players are like? That, because you watch them get hit and you think, how is this guy even going to get up? And then they keep playing. We think there's got to be some weird pain tolerance that they have. And so here's Adam, and he's not scared of anything. He was good on the football field. It didn't hurt him. I remember the day that they put on pads. It was Adam's first year playing. I remember the day they put on pads, and I had a football player friend of mine say, okay, here we go, because the day they put on pads is the day kids find out whether they're really suited for football or not. And I remember watching Adam just get slaughtered. I'm watching from the fence, and he's like 50 or 60 yards away, and he's new to the game, and there's older kids out there in pads that are just absolutely bulldozing him, and I'm cringing. And then when they take a break, Adam runs straight to me at the fence, and I'm thinking, here we go. He's going to be crying. He's going to be saying, I can't do this. Please don't let me. I'm steeling myself for saying, hang in there. And Adam runs to me, gets right up to me, and he says, this is great. I love this. I was like, really? Okay. Because I remember playing in the sixth grade and I didn't love it, but he loved it. So here we go. Well, at the end of the year, after, he was going to be an NFL player. I mean, that, he would tell me what team he was going to play on and, what position he was going to play, but he missed some Saturdays of hunting season. And so he asked me, because his brother and I went, and he had to stay at home with mom so he could do his practice or his game or whatever. And so Austin and I went a different direction. And after the year was over, Adam asked me, he said, Dad, is football season always during hunting season? And I said, yes, it is. He said, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to play in the NFL. So I'm just saying, John, your problem may take care of itself. And at the age of 10, if he wants to be a professional baseball player, absolutely. Okay. But I would caution you not to get too caught up in that yourself. Be careful that you don't plant that absolute in his mind. Because that way, at some point, if he decides he doesn't want to be a professional baseball player, or if it becomes apparent that he's not going to be a professional baseball player, you don't want that to be a huge deal in his mind that he has disappointed you. Okay? You say you also have an 8-year-old daughter, and do you recommend the same process for girls? I absolutely do, but at the age of 12 or 13. I mean, you'll know when it's right, but I really believe 10 is too young for everybody, and 8 obviously is. But man, it sounds like I envy you with a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old. It's just clay that you get to mold and to watch and have fun with, and so I envy your time there. And you say on an unrelated note that your wife and you own a franchise, and and you can't get your COO to book me at the annual conference. Well, I mean, that's okay. She doesn't know who I am. And so that's all right. But the tip I have as to how you might persuade her to book me at your annual conferences at some time during the year, give her a book. Okay, give her the noticer, give her the traveler's gift. And the other thing is that is real easy. Go to premierspeakers.com. That's PREMIERE speakers.com, and search for Andy Andrews. And there's a short video on there of me and about the speaking. And you can send that to her, and hopefully she'll be interested. And hopefully you and your wife and I can hang out a bit at your annual conference. Okay? Thanks so much, John, and have fun with those kids. Okay? So I think that'll do it for this week. Get us out of here, Matthew. So, ladies and gentlemen, and to the boys and girls who aspire to become ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of another episode of The Professional Noticer. In a world where common sense has become a superpower, I'm harnessing the tiny amount of mental energy I have for you, seeking wisdom, making observations, and endeavoring to answer tough questions in a way that will empower your family and your business. I'm Andy Andrews. Until next week, smile while you talk, shake hands with the kids you meet, and make sure you have an answer to the question, hey, what book are you reading? Until next week, goodbye. This episode of The Professional Noticer was produced by Matt Limpert. The Noticer theme written and performed by Sugarcane Jane. Host clothing provided by Twinkle and Smoke of Beverly Hills. Additional financial consideration provided by the Hall Monitors Association of America, providing jobs for people over 21 years of age who never really grew up. Join your local Hall Monitors chapter and be the boss of everyone in your town.